Hello fellow pilots, I'm Major Payne and this is another episode of How to Play. And today I'm gonna present you Messerschmitt Me 163B Komet. New premium plane in the game, added in set of 30 missions, which are available until 29th of April. Now I already have this machine and I tested intensively, and I'm gonna try to answer two main questions for you guys. Is this plane worth of grinding or spending money to get certificates, and what's the difference between Me 163B and J8M, which look almost identical, and we have it in a game in a Japanese tech tree since years. And I'm also gonna show you some good ideas how to play this machine, good tactics and tips. So let's start with the comparison of those two fighters, and we go through the parameters. At first look you might think there's not much difference, these planes are identical, but the devil is in the details. So let's start with the guns. Two 30mm cannons in both of these planes. Me 163 have better range of fire, 616 meters instead of 580 meters in J8M, and rate of fire 240 rounds per minute, also better than J8M, which have only 170 rounds per minute. But the Me 163 have less damage output from those guns comparing to J8M. We have 400 cumulative damage, where J8M have 440 cumulative damage. Cumulative damage is of course the damage from both of the guns, because if you take the information about the module, you will see this information that gun is dealing 200 damage per second, but because we have two of these guns, cumulative damage is obviously 400, yeah? So that basically means that we deal less damage per single shot in Me 163. If you want to calculate that exactly how much damage each cannon deal, all you need to do is just divide rate of fire by 60, which is a minute, then take the result and divide damage per second. And so in case of Me 163, damage per single shot from one cannon is 50. And in JAM, damage per single shot from one cannon is around 78. So basically you might think that J8M have better cannons. Specifically if you look on World of Warplanes website, where they make available this plane, to look it up, and you can compare J8M with the new Me 163. You can look it up on the firepower, and you see that they saying basically that J8M have better firepower on the scale, yeah? But in my opinion this is misleading, because it's only a theory, and in practice where we're firing these enemy planes at extremely fast speed, we very close to 1000 km per hour almost of the time, let's say. So that's where the range and rate of fire is very important. It's much more important than single shot damage in my opinion. And you can see that on an example here. I'm flying in Me 163 and I'm able to take out the light fighter, air defense light fighter at one pass with Me 163 at extremely high speed. That would be extremely difficult for J8M, and I mean like difficult, like next to impossible, yeah? And there's something else, also very important. For both of these cannons, auto aim angle is 3 degrees out of the target, yeah? The game will correct your aiming. But that's very good, but the dispersion angle is different. So Me 164 have 0.4 dispersion and J8M have 0.6. So basically that means Messerschmitt is a little bit more accurate. And I think the biggest difference, the biggest factor which decide which plane is more effective in a game is cannon overheat time. And so for Me 163 we have 6 seconds overheat time, and J8M have only 3 seconds. So half of that, yeah. So we can fire much longer with Messerschmitt 163 Komet than with J8M, with his Japanese version of this cannons, I suppose. They overheat much quicker. So this is important, specifically during the battle when we engage some heavy fighters which have more HP, and we basically are able to take them out without taking off a finger out of the trigger, yeah, to cool down your guns. Which is a common problem in J8M. I constantly struggle with overheat. Now we move to the rest of the parameters, and we have survivability, which is 240 hit points, resistant to damage 43, and to fire 20. Now, speed is important. Cruise speed is 270, boost speed 950, boost duration 10 seconds, which is great. It's 4 seconds more than J8M. And dive speed is 1000 km/h, which is maximum speed for both of these planes. And in theory, the J8M is just 30 km/h slower, so that's not significant, but this boost duration make a big difference. We can much easier maintain the stop speed in Messerschmitt, and so you can move around quicker and have bigger impact to the overall result in a match. Now, maneuverability, we have almost the same in both of the plane. Messerschmitt have average turn time 14.4, rate of roll 140, minimum optimum speed 432, maximum optimum speed for turning, of course, is 864, stall speed 130. So basically the difference is with minimum optimum speed and maximum optimum speed for those planes. And the J8M have better minimum optimum speed to make a turn, so theoretically that gives them an edge in a dogfight with another Messerschmitt 163. Yeah? But if you're flying Messerschmitt, then I wouldn't bother by that, because it's only theoretical. It's very small advantage, and not to mention that you're gonna met J8M in enemy team like what, once per 1000 battles. I barely see them in a game at all, Altitude performance are also slightly better. We have maximum optimum altitude 3000 meters, service ceiling 5000 meters, which is the same as J8M, but the rate of climb is a little bit better. We have 192 meters per second, but it's insignificant. Altitude performance are almost identical. Yeah, to sum up, which plane is better? Well, what you see here is J8M with paint skin I made for it, so he could look like a German Komet. But since I have EMI 163B Komet, I'm thinking that J8M will be just completely forgotten. Or let me put it this way, when you fly a Komet and then you move into J8M, just as I did, just for trying, you will literally feel that this plane is handicapped. So a German Komet is a clear winner here, is a much better plane, much more effective than J8M. Now, another question I promised to answer is it worth to grind this machine? Is it worth to spend money for this plane? So I would say you need to know two things here. First, this is a very difficult plane to be effective in it. It's not a regular light fighter. It's not like a high altitude fighter in a sense like Me-209 and others, which have great maneuverability, great firepower. That's not what we have here. This is completely different game style. It's not easy, and it's definitely not for new players. And second thing you need to know, if you already didn't figure it out, it's a light fighter tier 8, where very often you're gonna have limited impact on winning due to lack of balance in the game and complete domination of bombers from tier 8 up to tier 10. And knowing that, I think you can decide it for yourself. But in this case, me personally, I decided I won't have this plane. I'm grinding that. I want to have it because it's historical and I like this kind of for fun plane. But it's not something what I would be looking for in order to get extra silver or train my pilot and stuff in this. It's not a plane for that. And I would definitely not recommend anyone to spend big money on this plane. If you can get it for free, that's fine. If you cannot get that for free, that's also fine. You'll be also fine. It's a for fun plane, very good for this headhunting kind of tactic, harassing people, but it's not really that significant. And you can make great result in this plane, like I show you in the intro, very good result in this machine. It is passable, but it's only possible in the games where there's just 1 or 2 players in some inadequate planes. And yes, you can have good results, but by killing bots, which flying predictable, obviously. Yeah? But the moment you're gonna meet some players which know what they're doing in the game and flying some good light fighters, then you're gonna be in trouble or insignificant. Not to mention that if you are gonna go up against a good player in a bomber, then your chances of winning very often is gonna be very close to 0. Now, but if it's happened that you already have this plane and you want to know how to be a little bit more effective in it, this part of the video is going to be about the tactic and tips. So let's move into some tactics. So how to play Me-163 Komet. So the whole idea of this plane is based on surprise attack. So the main tactic is surprise attack all the time. With this maneuverability, which is 14.4 average turn time, we can't have any dogfight with other light fighters. Obviously, you are going to reduce this maneuverability with your equipment, but still you will encounter plenty of heavy fighters which are going to be more maneuverable than you are, and you basically have no other option fighting them than surprise attack. Lack of firepower and small pool of HP quite often not allow you to go head-on with anyone in a battle. So I strongly suggest use the camouflage, proper camouflage on this plane, which reduce the visibility, that give you less, that give enemy less time to react when you are going and attacking them, yeah? And keep doing this surprise attack all the time. Here's the thing, when you perform the surprise attack, then do not come back right away to some good human players, because they're gonna be ready and it's gonna be a waste of time. So it's better very often to keep going and attack someone else. And by doing that, you are creating the pressure. You're creating the pressure on those players that are under constant threat of attack, and that may negatively affect their performance. Obviously, that's not applied to bots. If you're attacking a bot, then obviously you can come back very quickly and re-engage if you need to finish off, yes. You can also try to force enemy light fighter to stall their plane by using your altitude performance, like all good high altitude fighters, as you see. But it's not so easy as may the parameter of the plane suggest, that we are very fast, high altitude. You see, this speed is very difficult to control. Very often I manage to disengage too much, too much of the distance, and then enemy plane is actually able to recover on time. So there is a risk with this. Plus, of course, this turn time is such an awkward problem here. See, I'm taking that much time to turn that the enemy plane already recover and he's ready to fight. But it's an option that we have against planes which doesn't have such a good altitude performance as we have. And also you can turn your plane to the left or right in head-on engagements, like here. The Spitfire have armament in wings, so we have some advantage in head-on in this situation. But in general, I rely heavily on surprise attack, not to try to stall someone. Now, bombers. Usually light fighters shouldn't even go around bombers, but this one here have some options. Because we have such a good speed and good altitude performance, we literally can hide in a blind spot of the bomber. We don't have to stay behind it, you know. We have such an advantage in speed that we can go just up and down and keep harassing these bombers and attacking them. Of course, it's not a tactic which is like for every battle, yeah. Just sometimes you can use it in some situations. Let's say if in your team is equally capable bomber player and you have some option to stop such a B-29C or other bombers for getting into strategic sector, stop him not just because he's going to the garrison or something, but some sector which will literally give you some advantage, like rocket base or mining plant, for example, yeah. Then you can use this tactic going up and down, stay in the blind spot of the bomber and harass him so he's not gonna take out the sector or even shoot him down. So you can use that when you have some bomber in your team or in a squall line to get rid of the bomber. In this case here, I'm leaving him alone on very low HP. That's also a part of the tactic, very good one. So he's gonna get killed over sector and I'm getting back to capturing sectors, because capturing sectors would be your primary objective, not to go after bombers. But some situation that may actually give an edge, and in here I stopped capturing sectors for a moment, and that's what happened. We finish off with one sector, now we have two, but this is actually a good example where that shouldn't be applied, because these sectors are garrison, yeah. I just did it just for the video to show you that how to go up and down and stay in a blind spot, yeah. So, and of course, opportunity like here that the bomber player is busy with dropping his bombs, you can use that also. That would be more common idea, more better idea. But in general, this tactic may take a lot of time, so you don't count on big results with points here. It's a tactic to win, but of course you can miscalculate heavily here. It's not easy to assess properly should you apply this tactic or not, and you can also lose the game if you waste much time harassing bomber, which wouldn't do much in a game anyway. Now it's time for equipment and pilot skills. We start from the equipment, and I have very standard setup, I would say. So on the first slot I have this culminator sight. Bonus characteristics are set up for accuracy, at extra accuracy when firing at maneuvering targets, and some chances of setting up on fire enemy planes. So that will be useful in my opinion. Now then, second slot of equipment is for wings, so we have naturally maneuverability increased, and on engine I have gas turbine, which is pretty important for acceleration and cooldown of the engine, and lightweight power unit for maneuverability. Obviously bonus characteristic for this equipment should be set up to maximize the turn rate and acceleration on turbine. What else? On guns are very important here, so if you have option to put some experimental equipment, then go for it, because this is pretty important. I have experimental gas operation action here to increase the firepower and the rate of fire. It's extremely important at high speeds. When you're attacking with such a speed enemy, then you really need that firepower and rate of fire basically. And so we can move now to pilot skills. And for pilot skills as well, actually I would say very standard for light fighters, I would say. So first two skills I would say aerobatic expert and then aerodynamic expert, and then after that I would say it's a must-have resilience for the light fighter. And I also have here firefighter, and if I would have extra 5 points I probably will go for marksman 1 and 2. But so far I don't actually complain on accuracy or my effectiveness in this regard, so very well you could use this extra 5 points for something else, but definitely don't use it for Engine Guru 1 and 2. You don't need any more speed in this plane, you don't need any more thrust or acceleration, and this usually you're gonna have, or you're gonna exceed the maximum speed, which is 1000 km/h quite easily, so there is no need to increase that with pilot skills. And as usually it's your choice guys, but you know my opinion on best setup. Alright pilots, I think that will be it in this video. I hope you like it, found it useful. If so, please leave a like and subscribe for future content. Feel free to comment what you think about this plane, and thank you very much for watching guys, and good luck with your missions.